has been 3 years since we moved to France. The garden was the main reason we bought the property. It has been a place where we felt confident to cut back and clear, rediscover plants and create anew. It has been our place of comfort and at times despair. It's had its share of blood, sweat and tears, but I think we've turned a corner. This is the progress we have made so far. We created this bed from scratch last year, and even though it's past its best now, I'm so happy with how it has developed. Many of these plants were bought as bare roots. It has proven to be a really cost-effective way to fill out the bed, as this year they've really exploded into life. I also planted quite a few bulbs, which were lovely in the spring. But it turns out you can never have too many bulbs, so I hope to plant even more this autumn. We could do with planting some things for later summer colour to keep up the vibrancy. Last year I planted more annuals into the bed, but this year I just haven't had the time. The one thing this bed is really lacking currently is some structure in winter. The grasses die but do hold their shape, which is nice, but we could do with some other plants, maybe some evergreens or a tree, which would give more interest to the bed in the winter months. This area was completely different when we arrived 3 years ago. Brooke has done an amazing job freeing the green gage trees from the ivy and then pruning them. And they are rewarding us with an absolutely bumper harvest. These 2 trees haven't had any fruit on them the whole time we've been here, but this year are covered. The recent storms have blown off a lot of fruit, but there's still plenty on the branches. There were a lot of irises on the property when we moved in, and to be honest, I wasn't sure about them. They were overcrowded and didn't seem to offer much. We spaced some out, and this year, after last year's hot summer, they were glorious. This patch here though are still seriously overcrowded, so they don't flower and need to be dug up and moved. This is another bed that we've basically created from scratch. While the bed did exist when we moved in, we had no idea it was here, as it was completely covered in a creeper and vigorous weeds. Brooke dug it all up, I painted the breeze blocks black, and then we filled it in as cheaply as possible. We took plants from other areas of the garden, split up some perennials, and of course planted some bulbs. I bought a couple of hydrangeas and the difference location makes is amazing. This one that is thriving gets a couple more hours of shade a day, whereas the other one is definitely not as happy. Long term, I'd like to turn this area into an orchard. At the start of the year, we planted 2 fruit trees thanks to some of our Buy Me a Coffee donations, and we're planning to plant more in the autumn. This year, we left this to turn into a wild meadow throughout the spring and summer. The poppies were fantastic. And at night, the sound of the crickets is so loud. Brooke was landscaping this area earlier on in the year, moving the stones here and reseeding the grass. That patch of grass has now grown and is so lush. We refer to this as the yoga spot, although we're yet to actually do any yoga here. The potager is where we've probably done the most work. Apart from the apple trees, grapevine and a hidden blackberry bush, this area was just grass and ivy. Historically, it used to be a potager, a vegetable garden. We knew we wanted to recreate that using no-dig methods. From the beginning, squash and courgettes have always grown really well for us, and this year doesn't look like that's going to change. Although we might need to harvest the courgettes more regularly. We've got some whoppers. We've got 3 more currant bushes for our fruit zone. A white one, a red one and a black one. Hopefully they'll be laden with currants for us next year. This is the blackberry bush that was hidden. Now it is free from the ivy, it has grown and grown. This year is definitely a good year for berries and our best harvest to date.
It's just really nice.
The peas were meant to be growing up the sweet corn. However, the first batch of sweet corn got eaten and so had to be resown, by which time the peas were already a jumbled knotted mess on the floor. So I wouldn't say that really worked. However, they've still grown fine, and what's more fun than podding a pea? Amongst other things, I planted some sunflowers in the new raised bed. However, they've somewhat taken over, and they're much bigger than last year's batch. While the potager frequently feels like the most work, it also brings the most enjoyment for the whole family. We've loved experimenting with different crops and seeing what the different seasons bring. Here's to a bumper 2023 harvest and an even better 2024. All the irises that we dug up from under the green gages needed to be put somewhere. I've been wanting to move them to the front of the property for ages, but it always seemed like such a mammoth job. Still, I got Brooke to lend a hand. And yes, by lend a hand, I do mean pretty much do it all. From digging them up, to strimming and digging the new area. I just turned up for the planting and the glory. The breeze block wall is such an eyesore, so these should do a good job of softening it up and providing something nicer to look at. Irises do very well around here, and you'll find them outside most properties and in the villages. Once they're established, they don't need watering and are fine with drought, which is why they shouldn't have any problems out here. Now it's cleared under the green gauges, it's such a lovely spot. I love the dappled shade you get under trees. We moved the table up here a couple of weeks ago and it works really well. We'll sprinkle some grass seed over the bare soil patches in the autumn, but for now, I think it's time to buy a hammock so we can lie back, relax, and take it all in. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe or take a look at these videos to find out more about how the garden got to this point. See you on the next video.